and welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim and my favorite complication is the GMT because it sets time into context, because time is always connected to a place on the globe, and when you think it through, it's always connected to a place in space. So it's the biggest picture imaginable, and that's of course very attractive. Yes, I was enjoying my Tissot Navigator when Héron reached out to me. And the Tissot is a very classy thing from the 90s, all steel with a lovely world timer dial with all the time zones on it. And of course Tissot is a well-established old brand, and Héron is a very new independent brand founded 2021 in Montreal, Canada. And they reached out the last time with a dive watch, with the Mariner, and this was very convincing design-wise and from the specs, and I really had my fun handling that watch. And now they came with their latest, which is the Mirabel GMT, Héron Mirabel GMT. So also a GMT watch, and then I had the idea, wow, that's a good opportunity to pair these watches for a video, because you can explain with both of them certain aspects of GMT watches, okay? They have their similarities and their differences, and so this is a really nice package, these two watches in one video. And the approach from Héron is a bit different. Normally you see the GMT watch as a 100% functional tool watch, and they wanted to step away a bit from that because, yeah, let's face it, we live in the world of modern smartphones, so the GMT function is not a necessity anymore, even if you're a traveler. But as said, there is something majestic to it, something beautiful, this connection time to certain places on Earth, and so it makes perfect sense to honor this with a very nice watch, with a good looking watch, with a handsome watch. And so the idea here was to turn the GMT a bit into direction dress watch. And this I found very interesting, and so in this video we're going to compare these watches because they're in roughly one price region. We have one vintage watch, we have a new watch, we have gold plated against steel, we have a true GMT against an office GMT. And the Mirabel is available in 4 versions, and here in the studio I have the Root Bearish, so the brown dial with the golden case. And by the way, if you always wanted to correct a watch reviewer under a video, then this is your chance, because it's a bit complicated. When you take everything between a very simple entry-level GMT, office GMT, and a real world timer, there's quite a span between these extremes, and you could write books about it, and people have written books about it, in fact. So I will keep it a bit simplified here because I don't want to deliver an academic lecture. I want to compare these watches, and I will explain the major difference between office GMT and true GMT, okay? And as a little goodie, I will show you a very nice travel wallet that I make myself with my own hands, and that thing I use for every travel I undertake on the globe. But now let's do it. Alright, and here we are with our two watches. It's Sunday, recording this on a Sunday. It's raining a bit outside, so it's a perfect time to discover some handsome watches. And here you will see the Mirabel, the Héron Mirabel Dress GMT watch. And before we go into detail, let's find out all the important specs. So we have 4 versions out there, and here you see the gold, the Root Bearish watch. And we have here a nice C-case form, and the case diameter is 37.5. The length, lug to lug, 43.5. The height, including the crystal, is 11.8, and the lug width is 20. Then we have a sapphire crystal, and the construction is waterproof up to 50 meters. And inside you find the Miyota 9075 with a power reserve of 42 hours. Pretty modern thing, operating at 28,800 with 24 jewel. And the price for this watch on the leather strap is 690 US dollars. So in euros, it's something about, what is it, 650, but you have to add your VAT, of course. And now let's find out the specs of the second watch before we dive into detail. This is the Tissot Z197 from the 90s. And here we have a classic 36mm case. Length is 43.5, 11.5 in height, so these watches are pretty similar in height. And the lug width here is 18. And here you have a plexiglass crystal and an EDA caliber, the 2893-3, which is not a true GMT. And now let's go into detail here. Let's examine the dial, and there's a lot to discover. First, that nice color that reacts pretty good to light. Very exciting look that we find here. And of course we have a lot of elements. We have Roman numerals, then we have a 24-hour scale, we have a railroad minute track, very classy set of hands, unloomed, the entire watch is unloomed. Here's the GMT hand, and this overall creates really the look of something vintage. And I'm happy also about the case, because here we are in Omega country. If you think of the classic constellation, Omega constellation from the 60s, then you had these C-shaped case. Not only Omega, of course, you find this case also from other brands, but I personally connected with Omega. And here you see the case back. Also very nice, because you find their time zones, all the time zones around the world, and you have an enamel insert. All right, and now let's check out the main function of the watch, which is of course the GMT function. True or traveler GMT means that we start with our local time, but we use the GMT hand. This is a bit counterintuitive, but you will see in a second why I'm doing this. Let's assume it's 8 o'clock in the morning. This is my local time, okay? 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, and now we have to synchronize these hands, because now with position 1, I have to set the main hands to my local time as well. All right, so 8 o'clock in the morning. And I can do this with these increments here. Works in both directions. And now we have here Roman numerals. Keep in mind that the Roman numerals here are for our main hands. Now we have 8 o'clock on the GMT hand and on the main hands. Okay, so synchronized basically. And now let's assume I have to travel to another time zone. Let's say I have to travel backwards, and now it's not 8 o'clock in the morning at my location, at my new location. It's 6 o'clock. And what you notice now, that the GMT hand doesn't follow. And so here I have still my local time, and whilst I'm flying around the globe. And that's the reason why this is called Traveler GMT. And this works fine, because this is a pretty nice caliber. It doesn't feel super luxurious, to be honest, but it does the job. It does absolutely the job. Hand winding, excuse me, also provided, and that's how you operate that watch. You have a solid power reserve. They are fairly robust, and so I think this is a very functional package, and we have to see it's handsome as hell. And now let's check out some straps, some other colors. I mean, here you have a bit of a match between the brighter areas of the dial and the strap. I think this was the idea, but to be honest, this doesn't work so well. I think it would be better with a darker strap. Delivers more contrast to the gold. This is the Caseback #1 strap, but okay, it depends a bit on your taste. But I would pair this always with warm colors, or see this is a Caseback Cordovan, and with that you add a bit more shine, a bit more depth, a bit more a luxurious look to the watch, but it all works nice, and you see really you can play with these colors, and the watch looks pretty different, but it always looks handsome as hell, really. Very, very nice construction here. Okay, before I put that on the wrist, let's check out our Tissot now. We already went over the measurements, but the price is still an absence here, because it's a vintage watch, 90s, and you find it online for everything between 500 and 1000, depends on the condition. So we are pretty much in the price range here. We have a modern vintage inspired watch, and we have a watch from the 90s, which I consider today vintage, and this was the reissue of a watch that was launched first in the 50s. And now we have something a bit different here. We have our local time on the outer high polished bezel, so with the 12-hour scale. Under that we have a 24-hour scale, and what I really love here is that the time zones you find here on the Caseback, here you have it on the dial. And so you can see at first glance that in Mexico it's early in the morning, 4 hours 45 minutes in that region, and your local time you read with the main hands. This is the idea of this watch, okay? Then you have the old Tissot logo. You have a very interesting case, very nice case, slender with some fingerprints, excuse me, very slender, interesting case back. Very distinctive crown, and the entire thing is very recognizable even from a distance. here you have that ETA 28933. Here position number 2 is for the main hands, so for your local time. And you see that the disc is following that time, and it will always follow that time. You can with position 1 now, you can operate the disc. There you go. And the idea now is that you put your office time. This is the reason why this is often called as an office GMT. Let's say you are a banker in a place and it's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, let's say, in the morning, and then you want to track another time in another city, then you have to manually now set this time. Let's say we take Cairo here, and then you have to move Cairo on the 24-hour scale to the local time in Cairo. And when you have done this, let's assume now it's set, Cairo, our local time is here 8 o'clock, and then you always can track the time of Cairo. This is the idea here. So the construction is not as advanced as our true GMT, but it's very handy, of course, when you are in a business situation or when you're just in favor of the disc and you like that disc and you find it charming. And this is exactly what I find here. And speaking of traveler and office GMT, what I also like to show you is my own traveler wallet. I created this years ago with a horse hide. Not Cordovan, but horse hide, but then it was hard to replace that hide, and now I make these in nice cowhide. Nice cowhide, and this is a large wallet for traveling reasons. I use it every year several times, and it's just great. It has a very nice size, optimized that it goes into the inner pocket of a suit, and of course also in other relatively small pockets because of the narrow format here. And inside you find a large compartment for passports and vouchers and this stuff. Here you have space for banknotes, also very handy, and of course you have a lot of space for cards. And I optimized this. There were several older versions out there, and I optimized it a bit, and now it's really perfect. Very nice color, hand dyed, hand stitched, absolutely indestructible. You can use this over decades. The inside is treated with a rubber solution so that it's feels a bit like an older product, and so I'm really proud of that. And here everything is sealed nicely with beeswax. And so if you're in need of a nice handmade travel wallet, then check out casebackwatches.com. There I sell these nice wallets. Not cheap, but I can ensure you're absolutely worth the money. All right, and now let's go out and let's make some wrist shots with these watches in broad daylight. Alright, that's all I wanted to share with you around GMT watches, around the Tissot Navigator. Keeper, by the way. Don't try to buy it from me. People tried this in the past, they will not succeed. This is an absolute keeper. Where was I? Yes, this was all I wanted to share with you around these two watches, around the wallet, around the GMT function. And now let me thank you very much for your attention, and until next time.